We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
Blue Monday, how are you, Blue Monday? Got to work like a slave all day. He'll come Tuesday.
This is the Savage Nation. We're all puzzling over what Mr. Obama, the Anointed One, means by the national security objectives that we've set. And number two, what does Mr. Obama mean by a civilian national security force that is just as powerful as our military? Welcome to the program. It has come out on YouTube that this is what the Anointed One has said. And yet so many liberals are so brainwashed, they don't even understand what they're dealing with here. We've been talking about this. There are fears running throughout America, and I don't mean from the extreme right only. I mean through the center, right into the Democrat side. There are fears running through the guts of millions of Americans. And the fears range all the way from, is this guy simply an FDR type of Democrat who's going to bring back a semblance of liberalism of the socialist order? Or is this man a Mugabe? Is he a Chavez? Is he a Castro? Is he a Mussolini? Who is this man? Now, with that many questions swirling around, you would think that during one of these stooge Stalinist debates run by the baggy-eyed Bolshevik Jim Lehrer of PBS and the other stooges of the far left, that once somebody would have asked these questions of Obama. Mr. Obama, you've said that you want your own civilian security force. What is that force going to do? What will be their role? How does it differ from the National Guard? But no, the baggy-eyed Bolsheviks didn't say that, did they? The big question mark is, why did John McCain, war hero, not ask this question? Why is it that when voters came up to John McCain and said that man is a Muslim, and John McCain said, oh, no, don't worry, he's a nice guy just like me, and the audience booed him? Why are women screaming at John McCain, get tough, when are you going to get tough? Why can't John McCain get tough? The answers are many. I don't want to spend too much time dissecting John McCain's psychological problems because they are manifest and they are pretty clear to anybody who has studied basic psychology what happened to him in Vietnam, and we don't have to go there. The one thing I know is this: as bad a politician as McCain is for the true Americans, John McCain is unquestionably not going to introduce some of these nightmarish scenarios to America, such as a civilian security force, such as disarming Americans, such as stabbing Israel in the back, etc., and so on. Therefore, on national security, it's John McCain 100 and Obama 0. And as far as I'm concerned, with the millions of prisoners and ex-prisoners who have been brainwashed by imams in our prisons, with the very dangerous associations with the Nation of Islam and with Bill Ayers and the revolutionary Marxists, I'll take my chances on the old but true rather than the unknown and the unproven. This is the Savage Nation. I have given out a prize. Please don't call anymore with the answer when I said, who is it who first said, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The caller, Jose from Grand Rapids, Michigan, who is an extremely erudite man, a man who knows the left intimately and well, called and won the prize. He won a copy of Psychological Nudity. And he, of course, joins us again. Jose, welcome back to the Savage Nation. Jose, without identifying who you are, I wouldn't ask it. I have gone on your website. It's very interesting indeed, and I won't read it out until you're ready, at anher time. You, just briefly, though, you did have deep experience on the left, correct?
That's correct.
And you're of the opinion that Obama is not going to be an FDR type of, let's say, liberal Democrat socialist blend. He's going to be something far more deadly. Is that correct?
That is correct. Senator Obama is the crown king, by their own words, the one we have been waiting for. Those are the exact words of, among others, I can remember the name of the extreme left-winger, the writer of The Color Purple. And this is a movement that has been percolating for over 30 years, and they are all interconnected. Mr. Bill Ayers, and I will give you off the air a contact from a high officer in American intelligence for you to verify this, okay? I'm not going to tell you on the air. Bill Ayers was working with the Venceremos brigades. That was the volunteers that used to go to Cuba.
In Cuba, sure, I know who they are.
He had a code name that was given to him by Cuban intelligence, and his name, it was Delgado. He was the recruiting bridge to take members of the Weather Underground.
You know, Jose, I'm laughing because it's as though I'm speaking to it's like a psychic connection, you and I. His code name Delgado. I may be one of the only people in the world who knows who Delgado was. Do you know that Delgado, about 50 years ago, was a Spanish scientist who put electrodes in the brain of a bull and then went into a bull arena and had the bull charge him, and with a handheld device stopped the bull from charging at him by controlling the electrode, the charge of the electrode. Are you aware of that?
No, can't remember. I'm not.
Very few people understand that, but I'm one of the few people who've actually studied condition responses and operational operant conditioning, so-called Pavlovian response. This is well beyond Pavlovian conditioning. This is controlling a raging bull with an electrode implanted in his brain. The name of the scientist, Delgado. Now, it's interesting that Ayers would be called Delgado if this is true, but we won't go there yet. Jose, how could the media be so duped? Are they as naive and as so lacking substance as I've said all these years?
Well, like I said again, these things are not disconnected. These things have been worked on very patiently, very slowly, following a very strong philosophical advice by Antonio Gramsci and Saul Alinsky. You know, the communists after Stalin, they discovered that you cannot be Marxist-Leninist. You are not going to change the West by a confrontation. You have to do this by slowly infiltrating the institutions. Gramsci discovered that in Italy, you could not have the working class abandon their Catholic faith in order to become communists. So what he thought you needed to do was to infiltrate then the church, the schools, everything. You don't need to bother. You don't have to be confrontational with religion.
Right, and of course another arm of that would be the homosexual invasion of the Catholic Church and the lawsuits which has almost destroyed the church. Certainly there were real abuses, but you also know many of them were invented strictly to destroy the church and to so-called, let us say, weaken the church. Make it a little more sympathetic. Why? Now, here's another question for you, and I know this is one you may not. I suspect this is one you may not answer. I have suspected all along that this loud, militant, homosexual movement in America is disconnected from the sexual homosexual. It is a political homosexual element, and I believe it is leftist in its intention. That is, if you take millions of Americans and exploit their sexual orientation by letting them think they have total freedom, but you use their sexual orientation to infiltrate the schools, to infiltrate the churches, to infiltrate the media, to infiltrate Hollywood, you can slowly but surely literally destroy the brick of civilization, which is the family. Do you agree with me on that?
Yes, and I would put it in these terms, because one of the major avenues to do that is to destroy the basis for morality. So if you go to that extreme where you can make this kind of behavior acceptable as normal, you have basically destroyed any firewall to contain the morality that brings that contains the middle class and the family together. One of the major neuralgic points that these people want to attack is the family, because the one of the reasons, for example, in my case and in many cases of other people, they failed in gaining our support is because we come from strong religious families. And they want to take away that from you.
Isn't that what gay marriage is all about? It's really not about homosexuals wanting to be married. Isn't it about destroying marriage itself?
A political goal. It's part of a political goal.